and pass it on to Angie.
All right. Good morning, everyone. How many participants do we have this morning?
We have, is there four? Four.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today on Workshop Wednesday. I'm going to remind you about what we discussed last time. We talked about the WIC Healthy Foods, a guide to study, a guide to help. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. A guide to healthy shopping. And we looked at the authorized food list. And we encouraged you to buy at least one new healthy food item for your family to try. We encourage you to repeat giving healthy foods, even if those kiddos reject them. We encourage you to be a role model, have a healthy family style meal, ask your child to try a new food, but don't pressure or force. We ask that you offer a new food with a food that they already liked to eat. And we ask you to remove distractions. We ask you to tell your children to listen to their tummies, offer a variety of healthy foods, and let the kids help prepare the foods. Always have healthy foods available, and make it easy for them to eat, grab and eat, and reach on their own at their eye level in the refrigerator or pantry. Have chopped up fruits and vegetables ready to go, and do not have unhealthy foods in the home. So how did we do? Who was able to pick one and stick with it? And who had struggles? And tell me all about your week. Anybody want to share? No?
We tried to get them to try cooked veggies, but they're just still not liking them.
Okay. Understand. So you tried them raw and cooked?
Yeah, they prefer them raw. I just tried
Okay.
giving them the cooked ones, but they were like, no, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I get it. I don't like raw carrots, but I like cooked carrots, and vice versa for broccoli. So, yeah, to each his own. Everybody's different, but as long as they're eating them right, we know that they're getting the nutrition. In fact, they say that if you cook them, the vegetables, then they lose some of the nutrients. So it's better. I mean, I guess it's better to eat them raw, but I'm glad you're still trying, and I'm glad that they're eating something, right?
Laura said that they tried quesadillas with wheat tortillas and they loved it.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome. Great. Thanks for sharing. We tried keto this week at my house. So we got some keto meals that were prepared. It was 4 ounces of meat, chicken or steak, and then we had 6 ounces of vegetables. And it was chicken and broccoli and steak and asparagus. And we did that for dinners every week. And I actually got enough for 2 weeks, but after a week we said, okay, we need to change it up a little bit. I said, I can't eat any more asparagus. So we're going to do something different this week. So anyway, well, congratulations. Thanks for trying. I appreciate it. This week we're going to talk about drinks. So if you look in your handout 1, section A, we're going to talk about water first. There's 4 key points about drinks there in your handout. The first question is, why is it important to drink water throughout the day? And our literature says that drinking water throughout the day is important for your bodies to work properly. Staying hydrated is important, especially for children who are physically active. Make sure your child drinks fluids throughout the day. When deciding what type of drink to give your child, think about the nutrition and health effects of the drink. And then the second question are, what are some simple ways to start your family on to drink more water? Have more water on hand everywhere you go. Try buying a reusable water bottle and filling it at home. Don't stock your refrigerator with sugar sweetened drinks like soda, sports drinks, or juice. The temptation will be too great. Instead, keep pitchers of water with fruit slices in the refrigerator. And it says that when drinking water, tap water is just as good as bottled water. And there are health benefits too. And when you serve your children tap water or filtered water from either the water vending machine or from your home water purification filter, it's great. Your local water contains fluoride, which is what your children need for strong, healthy bones, the enamel on their teeth, and it helps prevent cavities. Bottled water does not have any added fluoride. Drinking water instead of sugary drinks can help prevent obesity and type 2 diabetes in both children and adults. If your child resists drinking water instead of sugar sweetened beverages, keep trying, just like the vegetables, keep trying. It may be hard to convince your child to drink water now, but in the end, healthy benefits of drinking water will be worth the effort. Be a role model for your family. Let your child see you drinking lots of water and they'll want to do the same. And remember, that tap water in the US is safe to drink. I know that there's been some discussion about whether it's safe or not, but it's safe. So let's go on to number 2. Is there any questions about water before we move on to milk? Nope. Okay. So in your handout, section B, we're going to talk about milk. What are the nutritional and health benefits of milk? Why do we want children to drink it? Milk is a nutritious beverage. It has calcium for strong bones and teeth, and protein for energy and building and repairing muscles. Children should drink about 16 ounces of milk per day, or eat foods high in calcium, like low-fat yogurt or dark green leafy vegetables. And I know we've talked about this a little bit last time. If they don't like to drink milk, just make sure that they're getting their calcium in other forms. And yogurt is a good way, and green leafy vegetables is another. Children ages 1 to 2 should be drinking whole milk because they need the extra fat for proper brain and nervous system development and energy for their increased mobility. Look at chart 5.2, fat content in milk. Children ages 2 and up usually get the extra fat in foods and do not need to get it in milk. But look at the difference in the fat and the calories as you go up in fat content. A good tip to help you transition your family to 1% low-fat or non-fat milk is to save the tops or the caps of the 2% and replace them with the 1% or non-fat. So it's this old switcheroo game. Children and adults will not be able to tell the difference if everything else looks the same. Another way to get your children to switch is to mix the 2% in whole with 1% or non-fat. Start by serving them milk that is mostly 2% or whole, but that also contains a small percent of the 1% or non-fat. And as the weeks go by, you can add more and more of the 1% or non-fat milk and less of the 2% or whole. Transition at your own pace. And if your child is lactose intolerant, or there are alternatives include lactose-free milk, calcium fortified, non-dairy milk, such as they say soy milk and almond milk. I would stay away from soy milk if you can. I would go with the almond milk. There's also now cashew or coconut milk, and there's also now oat milk, which I actually tried this past week when I went to Starbucks. And oat milk it was just as good as, I can't do dairy because I'm allergic to dairy. I always do almond milk, but the oat milk was just as good. So just a side bit of information there. Are there any questions about milk before we move on? No? Okie dokie, we're gonna move on to soda. What's wrong with drinking soda? It's bad for your teeth and it can lead to cavities. It also has empty calories. There's no nutritional value whatsoever in soda. It's just nothing but sugar. Drinking one soda per day adds large amounts of sugar to a child's diet. One 12-ounce soda a day can cause an adult or a child to gain 10 pounds a year. So children who drink soda are more likely to be overweight. This additional sugar puts children not only at risk for obesity, but also for cavities and diabetes. We're going to watch a video about how much sugar is actually in a can of soda. Typically, if we were doing this workshop in person, we would be doing this kind of the same activity in person, but because we're not, I'm gonna show a video, okay? So we'll talk afterwards.
Greetings viewer and any sugar addicts who may be watching this video. Today I'm going to discuss the sugar content in this Pepsi soda beverage filled at 355 milliliters. This soda accounts to a total of 150 calories and is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. And as you can see highlighted here, this Pepsi soda has a total of 41 grams of sugar, where all of the sugar is entirely added. And now I'll provide a visual of what that looks like with a food scale. I'm going to add granulated sugar into this small 3-ounce bowl until the total amount is equal to 41 grams. Here's what 41 grams of sugar looks like in a bowl up close. And now here's the equivalence of the granulated sugar in sugar cube form. Each cube is about 2.3 grams. So in conclusion, this Pepsi soda is loaded with around roughly 17 cubes of sugar. And remember, all of it is added sugar. So this means none of the sugar content in this soda can be found naturally. Added sugars can consist of sweeteners such as sucrose or high fructose corn syrup. These sugars in high quantities can lead to many long-term health problems. But as I mentioned in all my videos, try not to be discouraged by what you've just seen. This video is not to scare or intimidate you from eating this product. Instead, its purpose is to provide a visual on the potential amount of sugar someone can consume from eating too many sweets. After all, sugar can have many negative effects on our bodies if we overeat it, but it's okay to occasionally treat ourselves to a sugary snack every now and then, just as long as you consider doing so in moderation. That's it, friends and sugar addicts. If you want to see more videos like
All right. 17 cubes of sugar in one can of soda. That's amazing. Think about the effects sugar has on your child. As you saw from the video, soft drinks are high in sugar, generally in the form of high fructose corn syrup. Not drinking soda in front of your child is a great way to model healthy habits. Another great alternative is soda with flavored another great alternative to soda is water flavored with fruit. Consider adding various fruits such as apples, lemons, strawberries, and pineapples, cucumbers, and mint to your water. Or you could do club soda or seltzer water. That's the recipe on the screen. Remember that water is always a preferred drink. But if the adults in your family like to drink soda, a healthier choice is 100% juice with calorie-free club soda or sparkling water. If you or the other adults in your family can't make the change in front of from soda to juice right away, try limiting soda and juice slowly. Give water more often than usual. The eventual goal is to have the entire family drinking water regularly instead of soda or juice. Does anybody have any questions at this point? No? All right, we're going to go to the next slide. It's all about juice. Okay, the question is, does anyone know the maximum amount of juice a child should drink in a day? Water is always the choice of beverage, or the beverage of choice. I'm all mixed up today. But if you choose juice, drink 100% juice, fruit juice, instead of 5% or 10% fruit juice, which contains added sugar, or fruit juice drinks, which contain small amounts of juice and lots of added sugars. Cutting back on sugar-sweetened beverages can help your family stay healthy. Also, all fruit juices that are not 100% fruit juice contain added sugar or artificial sweeteners. Added sugar in juices can lead to weight gain, just like with the soda, and it can also lead to more serious diseases later on in life. It also creates cavities. So we're going to look at your handouts. This is chart 5.4, and it's the comparison of the 5% juice versus the 100% juice. So the question was, does anyone know the maximum amount of juice a child should drink in a day? The answer is, it's recommended that children ages 2 to 6 years old drink no more than 4 ounces. That's only a half of a cup of 100% fruit juice per day, or the size of one small or junior size juice box. It's better to eat the whole fruit with all the fiber, with all its fiber, than drink the juice from the fruit. Eating fruit helps limit the amount of total sugars that children consume in a day because it gets them full more quickly. Drinking too much juice can also affect a child's appetite. Light eaters often drink too much juice, which fills them up and then causes them not to want to eat or to barely eat anything at all. If your child is used to drinking juice, begin by diluting the juice with water more and more each day until he or she gets used to just drinking the water. In 5.4, you can see that the 5% orange juice drink has 13.8 grams of added sugar. That added sugar is in addition to the naturally occurring sugar. But the 100% orange juice has only naturally occurring sugar, fruit sugars, and 0 added sugars. So in section E, reading juice labels, it's always very important to read labels on all foods, especially important with juices. So you can see here that the fruit flavored beverages that have added high fructose corn syrup can shape a child's life shape a child's taste toward sweet cravings. And look for 100% on the label. Note the helpful vitamins and minerals. The 100% juice contains more and higher quality naturally occurring nutrients. We're going to look at the next page is 2 specific fruit labels, or juice labels, drink labels, I'm sorry. So the ingredients are listed in order of volume. So the first ingredient is the largest ingredient. The ingredient listed second is the second largest ingredient, and so on. So if you look here at the 100% orange juice label, there's only one ingredient. It says 100% pure squeezed pasteurized orange juice. One ingredient. On the other one, 10% juice, the juice drink label, whatever. I think I counted 17. Okay, and the second most highest ingredient there is the high fructose corn syrup. Okay. So, review the ingredients and avoid fruit flavored drinks that have added fructose corn syrup. Pick juices with very few additives. Avoid junk fruit drinks disguised as juice blends that contain very little real fruit. These blends do not have the same natural levels of nutrients as the 100% juice contains. Look at 5.5, reading juice labels. If you look at the ingredient list, we've already talked about that. The second, it's the high fructose corn syrup is the second highest ingredient. Also note that the 10% juice has a higher sugar content. So if you look at the 10% juice label, it says total carbs are 29 and the sugars are 29. That means they're all sugar. But the 10% juice has total carbs are 26 and the total sugars are only 22. So for the entire bottle, you should, I'm going to talk about we got to go up and talk about the nutritional facts at the top. So if you see at the orange juice label, it says that the serving size is 8 fluid ounces. And there's only one serving. This is for an adult, remember? So there's 8 ounces and there's one serving. But for a child, there would be 2 servings because a child should only be having half of a cup or 4 ounces. But on the 10% juice label, it says that the serving size is 8 and there's 2 servings per container. And look at the difference in the sugars with that. You gotta read labels. It's sometimes hard to know what is 100% juice. Words like juice drink or juice cocktail are a good clue that it's not 100% juice. Offering water when your child is thirsty is the best thing for him or her. Does anybody have any questions about these labels? Does everybody understand how to read them? On to the next slide then. So we're going to talk about chart 5.6. Let's compare all the beverages that we've reviewed. As you can see on chart 5.6, comparing beverages, 5% juice drinks and sodas have almost 7 teaspoons of added sugar per 8 ounces. You can also see that water has 0 teaspoons of sugar and 1% milk has only 2.5 teaspoons of natural sugar per glass, plus a lot more health benefits than soda. 100% orange juice has 4.5 teaspoons of natural sugar. Drinking water in front of your child is a great way to model healthy habits. One tip to get your child to drink more water is to add flavor with lemon slices, berries, cucumbers, and mint. If your child is more active or if it is a hot day, they will need more water. Let them have access to water to quench their thirst. Now we're going to switch our gears and we're not going to talk about nutrition. We're going to talk about screen time, recommendations for screen time and physical activity. On your handout, you will see that physical activity and screen time tips for your child. Physical activity is simply your child being active and moving, not being idle. Children who are active are 3 to 4 times more likely to be, children who are not active are 3 to 4 times less likely to be overweight. Did I read that right?
Children who are active.
Okay. Children who are active are less likely to be overweight. Sorry, guys. So what is the definition of screen time? Screen time is any time that is spent in front of the television, computer, smartphone, video games, or tablet. Too much screen time can negatively impact your child. It reduces the time children are engaged in physical activity. It distracts them when they are eating and can interfere with brain development, especially at an early age. A few good tips to help you limit screen time include using a timer so that you and your child will know when the daily time is up or when the show is over. Using a timer makes it visual. We use timers in the classroom all the time, especially if kids want to play in certain areas. and we only have so much room in that area to play in, for example, the block area. And if there's too many people in there, then it gets crowded and the kids can't explore and do what they need to do. So we have timers and we give them 10 minutes or so per, in each area. So they'll go get a timer and they'll say, hey, 10 minutes and it'll be my turn. So this is another good way to use a timer. Limit your time in front of the screen. Be a role model and limit your own time in front of the screen, especially in front of your children. All they really want is your attention. So when you are with them, be with them, be present. Let your child pick the show that he or she wants to watch if it's age appropriate. And make sure that you turn off the television when the show is over, and that way they don't continue watching the next show. Remember, from our language and literacy workshop, I don't know how many of you were in that, but if you guys are sitting, if your kids are watching a show, you guys should be sitting down with them, watching it with them, and interacting, engaging, asking questions about what you're watching. So don't just make it, it's like wasted time. I mean, use your time wisely and engage with them and ask them questions so that it'll expand their thinking. So we can go into the next slide. All children should be physically active at least 1 hour a day, at least 1 hour a day. Children can add up exercise minutes in various ways over the period of a typical day. Example, you can walk your child to school. They can play a chasing game or tag with friends, and they can run around the backyard or at the park. What are some simple ways to include physical activity as part of your child's routine? Walking is a great way to include daily exercise in your child's lives. Children get the benefits from exercise and they are brighter and more alert after a walk. Take your younger children out of the stroller to allow them to walk. Dance with your children. Children love to dance. Put on some music at home and encourage your children to join you in dancing around the house. Just think of all the memories that you'll make. Encourage children to join a sports team or try a new physical activity. Take the stairs instead of the elevator or walk around the block with your children after a meal. I did that when my kids were younger. We would always eat dinner, clean up the kitchen, and then go for a walk. And that was kind of the beginning of our nighttime routine. I know you guys talked about routines last time. We would get all their extra energy out after dinner, get their wiggles out. They would run around, chase the dog or whatever. And then when we came back from our walk around the block, we would begin with our bath time and story time. And it was just a natural lead into our evening bedtime routine. Another thing you can do is make a new house rule. No sitting still during the TV commercials. Have them see how many jumping jacks you can do or push-ups they can do, or vacuum the living room really fast for this commercial. Find time to spend together doing a fun activity. Family day at the park, or a swim day, or a bike day. You can buy your children toys that promote active lifestyles, like versus electronic devices, such as bikes or scooters or skates or balls, making sure that they are developmentally age appropriate. And encourage outside activities and limit screen time. And make a rule that screen time can only happen after children have played outside. Anybody have any questions so far? Almost to the end of this session. I know these ideas are listed in your handout. I just wanted to talk about them really fast if you guys had any questions about them. So I know that this is listed in your handout, but I wanted to share. You can, keep it up balloon, just get a bag of balloons and blow them up and see if they can keep it off the ground, keep it in the air. Go on a treasure hunt, play hide and seek, play chasing games like tag, kicking, throwing, or rolling a ball. Go on a nature hunt to collect leaves and twigs and berries to make decorations, or roll over and over on a flat surface or a smooth surface or down a hill. So just different ideas that you can do to keep your kids active and not in front of the screen. Again, and you want to spend time and make memories. So these are fun ways to do it. Does anybody have any questions? No? We're going to talk about our challenge for next week, your homework. So if you can fit some time in for physical activity into your weekly routine by decreasing screen time, that would be wonderful. And then can you pick a sugary sweetened beverage in your home, such as soda, juice, or lemonade, etc., to throw away? Throw it in the trash can, pour it down the drain. So you can look at chart 5.7 and pick at least one of those items to work on this week. I know it's a really long list, but I would encourage you to pick one item and talk about it next week, okay? All right, I'm going to turn this over to Sarah.
Alrighty. So physical activity can help mental development too. For example, pretending to be wild animals allows children to be creative and use their imagination. As children dance, run, climb, and stretch, they build flexibility, strength, and endurance. It is important to practice these activities at a young age. And then the two exercises that we have today is the calf raise, and this is the adult exercise. And then the second exercise is called cool as a cucumber, and that's the child exercise. And then I'll show you a video example of how to do the exercises. Does anybody have any questions on the exercises or anything? I'm going to pass it over to Sharon for our parenting portion.
All right, good morning. Welcome back, parents. I'm excited that you all made it back to session 5 of our parenting workshop. How did your week go? Any successes or challenges that you want to share with the group as to behavior and parenting? Anyone want to share anything they did last week that made things a little easier or better for their family? Right? Well, if you do, just let us know, because we'd love to hear from you on how things are working out. Remember last week we were discussing how following a morning routine and an evening routine can help your family and you by reducing stress and making healthy eating and exercise a part of your daily routine. Our Parenting Healthy Challenge last week had 2 parts. Challenge number 1 was to try a morning routine at least one day that included activities such as shower, get dressed, and prepare breakfast before your children wake up in the morning. Prepare lunches for daycare, set the breakfast table, help the children choose appropriate clothing, and put together all the items the child needs to bring to childcare before they go to sleep the night before. That way it's ready in the morning when you leave. You don't have to worry about that. Was anyone able to follow that morning routine or evening routine that they set up last week? Anyone want to share how that went?
I did. I try to get early, take my bath early, and put on my bed early. Just since I get more rest like that, so they wake up, extra early with a lot of energy in their bodies.
Did you get that?
I think she said she put them to bed earlier.
Oh, you
and
put them to
rest
bed
their
early.
bodies and
That's good. That's a good start. All right. Did you have enough time in the morning when you got up to make their breakfast before they woke up? Is that something you were trying?
Yes.
That's good. Were there any did anyone have any problems with following routine? Something that they weren't able to make work for them that they'd want to talk about? All right, we're going to move on to challenge number 2. This is for the evening routine. Try an evening routine for at least one day that includes activities such as dinner as a family as part of your daily routine, turning off the television, and not using your phone at the table while you're having dinner. Talk about fun and happy things and let the children lead the conversation at mealtime. Oh, look how I spelled conversation. Funny. Let children select which healthy foods they would like to eat. Encourage children to try new foods, but do not force them to eat. Set up a sleep routine to help gradually get children to settle down. So does anyone want to share how they get their kids to settle down in the evening before they go to bed? Is there a routine that you've been following that helps them calm their bodies and get ready to fall asleep?
Yeah,
Was
hello.
there anyone? Oh, go ahead.
Yes, hi, it's Norma Rios. Yeah, we do story time with the kids. So it's about we start about an hour before the actual bedtime. So it doesn't feel so rushed. And so that
Perfect.
we just start kind of downtime.
That's
now
wonderful.
before bedtime.
Yeah, any type of a routine that you get them into will really help them. Oh, what does Veronica say? I saw she said something too. We're gonna check it out real quick.
I give them a bath and turn off lights and watch a nighttime movie before bed.
Okay, yeah, that'll work too. All right, so remember to post your routine that you made up for your family on the refrigerator or some other easily accessible location, because that will help you see it more often to remind you to do it. And thank you to everyone who shared. We appreciate that. Okay, we're going to move on to the next slide. This one is about discussing common problems and solutions in your schedule. So now that we have shared some successes and problems with implementing the weekly routines and schedules, let's talk about the common problems and solutions we might run into when we try to get our families on a smooth running schedule. So the first problem on our slide says parent cannot remember the schedule. So the cause would be poor location of the schedule. A solution would be to put the schedule on the refrigerator, just like I said before. That way you can see it and you'll say, oh, I got to remember to do that. Okay, a second problem could be parent could not get everything done even though he or she followed the schedule. The cause could be underestimating the time for some or all events or unexpected events interfered with plans, not allowing enough wiggle room in case something comes up. Sometimes, you forgot that you have to take your child to a sport, or you had like a after school thing, you never know. You have to leave a little bit of wiggle room. So add some extra time to each daily event where the problem occurs. So maybe just squeeze a little bit more time in there, rearrange it a little bit. All right, the third problem could be parent gave up following the schedule. They just said, oh, this is too hard. I don't want to do it. The cause could be that parents started too late. The solution would be to look at the schedule at the beginning of the day to make sure there's time to do everything. If you're going to eliminate something to make more time, eliminating screen time or TV would probably be the best thing to eliminate, unfortunately. All right, we're gonna move on to the next one. Does anyone have any questions about or want to share any of the problems that they might have had? All right, we're gonna move on to our new topic for behavior. It's called ignoring unwanted behavior. We just talked about drinks, screen time, and physical activity. Now we are going to move into talking about parenting tips on how to ignore your child's bad behavior. Like when they refuse to turn off the TV when you ask. Keep in mind that implementing routines is so important to living a healthy lifestyle. Having the children on a routine will help them follow directions and be calm and keep the stress out of your life too. Let's see, where was I? Know that ignoring is one of the most difficult skills for parents to master. That's because children's ignorable behavior is designed to be coercive and either tug at parents' heartstrings or irritate them so that they will give in to the child. So when you see your child, they're crying because they want something, sometimes that's hard for you to ignore and you just want to give it to them. But learning this tip will be helpful. Take out handout number 3, section A, types of behaviors to ignore. In the very first session, we talked about behaviors you like and want to see more of. You remember that? 4 weeks ago. Behaviors you don't like and want to see less of, and behaviors that are unacceptable and you want to stop right away. Today, we're going to show you what you can do to decrease behaviors you don't like and want to see less of, and what to do so that they don't keep happening. Let's see. We need parent volunteers so we can delve deeper into this topic. Would someone volunteer to share a behavior their child has done from the list of behaviors we have on the slide? Would anyone like to share a behavior that their child might do? All right. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on since no one wants to share their behaviors. How about you, Andy? Do you remember any behaviors that your kids used to do on that list?
Nag me at the store
Nag you at the store.
about things that they wanted, candy bars.
Oh, yeah.
So Laura said demanding and crying over her tablet.
Oh, demanding and crying over your tablet.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see. What could we do for that? So if you have a child demanding and crying for a tablet or screen time, definitely. Let me see where I was. So when you're correcting them, you'd want to tell them the problem. Say, I'm not going to give you the tablet until because you're crying for it. And what does it say? I forgot. So your words are actually, that's on the next part. Let me change slides. I'm sorry. All right. So how ignoring works. We're going to explain to you how you would ignore that behavior that it was Norma that gave Laura gave us. All right. So so if they're crying for the tablet, it says your words or actions may teach a child whether a behavior is acceptable or unacceptable. 2, ignoring a behavior tells the child this behavior will not get you what you want. And number 3, ignoring only works when you use it with praise. Together, they are very powerful. When you praise a behavior you like, you show your child what you want them to do. Number 4, there are 2 ways to ignore. You can ignore with your behavior and with your emotion. For example, child is having a tantrum. What would be the correct parent response? Parent looks away from the child, and that's ignoring the behavior, and does not say anything or show any facial expression, and that's the emotion. So if the child was trying to get you to give them the tablet, you might say, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to you anymore until you stop asking me for the tablet and you talk about something else. So then you would just turn your body away from the child and not look at them. And they might keep asking, but you're not going to give them that attention that they want. You're going to ignore that they keep asking you. And then when they stop having that behavior, then you can turn to them and say, thank you, I'm glad you stopped doing that. And then you can give them something else. Not the item they asked for, maybe something else. See where I was. Oh. All right, we're going to move on to the next. Oh, I just want to make this one point. When you begin to ignore, your child may misbehave more frequently at first. It might increase the misbehaviors because they want to keep trying to see if they can change your mind. It will get better over time, but you have to be consistent. It will not work if you ignore one day and give in or show emotion the next day. I remember my mom used to tell me that when I used to throw temper tantrums or whatever it was, she'd tell me, well, I'm just not even going to talk to you if you're going to act like that. When you're ready to talk to me like a person, then I'll talk to you. So she would just like ignore me. She wouldn't give in to me. All right. As discussed and listed on your handout, there are 6 key types of behavior to ignore. The 6 types of behavior to ignore are arguing, demanding, impoliteness, nagging, crying, and whining. Those are the 6 key types. It is important to remember that in a dangerous situation, where you go? I don't want to miss this part. It's important to remember that in a dangerous situation where a child is causing harm to himself or another person, ignoring should not be used. We will talk more about how to stop these types of unwanted behaviors through enforcing rules and consequences in workshop 6. So always remember, if there's someone in danger or your own child's in danger, then probably shouldn't ignore. You should probably go ahead and end it right there and take care of it. But it's an ongoing process where you're going to teach the child what your expectations are. Time seems to go much more slowly when you're listening to your child have a tantrum, or they're nagging you, or other behaviors we talked about. Many parents find that timing their child with their watch or their phone, whatever they have, while the child is having the tantrum is very helpful. It kind of makes it where you think it's like 5 minutes, it maybe was only a minute. So if you kind of keep the time. A 2-minute tantrum may seem like 20 minutes. When you actually time it, you may find that it lasts much shorter than you think. 20 minutes may actually only be 2 minutes. Then when you time the next tantrum, you may see that it went down to only 1 minute and 40 seconds. And you're going to slowly see that the child's going to start understanding that this isn't going to get him what he wants. This is an indication that your child is learning not to tantrum. The only way you can tell if your child is learning not to tantrum is to time each tantrum to see if it's getting shorter. Telling your child you are going to ignore a certain behavior can be helpful. So actually telling them, when you're acting like that, I'm not going to talk to you. So when you're ready to talk to me like a regular person, then maybe we can talk. But I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I'm not going to talk about you wanting the tablet until you're done. For example, nagging for an unhealthy food is talking about something else. Tell your child, I'm not going to talk to you until you talk about something else. As soon as the behavior stops, don't forget to praise your child. So as soon as they start acting the way you want them to act, then be sure to give them the praise. Say, oh, I see you're ready to start. I see you're ready. That's really great that you're ready. So let's see what it says over here. So I'm not going to read this whole part over here. We're just going to move on to the next one. We're going to show you a little role play activity that Angie and I did. So this is our role play. Hope you enjoy it.
Can I have a
I'm done.
All right. I hope you enjoyed our show. So, as you can see, in our role play, the child was asking and asking and asking, and the mom told her that she wasn't going to talk to her until she stopped talking about the candy. And then mom turned away and started playing on the computer or doing her work. And then when the child finally sat down and kind of gave in and stopped asking, then she rewarded the child by giving her something else to do. So that's a good way to do it. So we do have a challenge. Does anybody have any questions about ignoring behavior before we move on? All right. So it's time for the parenting healthy.
I
Oh,
do
I'm
have a
sorry, go
question.
ahead. Okay.
Okay, what if she starts like kicking on me or something and I'm ignoring the behavior?
You just gotta keep ignoring and maybe walk away. You can walk into the other room.
Definitely tell her that it's not okay to hit or kick. That's not appropriate.
Yeah,
But we're still not going, you still have to stand firm and, you know, stand with your boundaries and say, we're still not gonna discuss that or talk about that, or you're still not gonna get, you know, your screen time, especially when you're hitting and kicking. But when you act like this, we're not gonna reward behaviors, bad behaviors.
and that's probably another good reason to set a certain time of the day for screen time. So the children knows what time, like a certain time of the day, like in the evening, like from 5 to 6 or 5 to 5:30. That's your time for screen time, and that's the only time you get to use that or do watch TV, because if they're not expecting it, different times of the day, then they probably eventually get to the point where they'll stop nagging you about it, because there's a certain time for that during your scheduled day. So, yeah, and I know it will be hard at first, because they're gonna keep fighting and trying to get what they want. But once they figure out that they're not gonna get it, hopefully they'll come to the point where it'll start getting better for you. Did that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions? All right. We're going to go on and talk about the Parenting Healthy Family Challenge. Please get out your handout, page 5-46. That's your handout page that you're going to write down what you're going to do for your challenge. Look at the list of unwanted behaviors that you'll try to ignore from your child. So there's a list of 7 things, and you can pick one or more if you like. And maybe your child does repeatedly to get what they want. And sometimes it makes your skin crawl or makes you upset, makes you want to cry because they won't stop. Remember to use the tips at the bottom of the page in order to be successful in ignoring unwanted behaviors. Remember to not give the child eye contact. Do not smile, speak, or touch the child. Show no emotion. So you're just going to look away from them, and you're going to just go on with what you're going to do. Focus on something else. Tell the child that you're going to ignore the behavior. You need to make sure they know what you're going to do, that you're going to ignore them while they're acting like that. And then as soon as they start acting the way you'd like them to, be sure to give them some praise and tell them, I really like how you're acting now. Thank you so much. That makes mommy so happy when I see you listening and following direction. So we hope you have good luck trying this at home. And we want to thank you so much for coming to all of our sessions so far. And we're going to move on to the next part, which is the question and answer.
Does anyone have any final questions or comments before we end the meeting? And then I'll also send the feedback form later today.
We have one more session left. So we hope that you guys join us for the next one, the last one. And then after that, the behavior pairs. Celeste, Brett, and Demetrius will be hosting the workshop Wednesdays. I encourage you to sign up for their workshops. It's gonna run from November 10th to December, can't remember the dates, I think it's the 15th. Let's see, November 10th to the 15th, yes. There will not be a meeting the week of Thanksgiving though, so. But, and we'll be sending out, information about that. So, unless you guys have any other questions, we're gonna call it a day. Hope you guys have a great week and we'll see you back here next week.
Yeah. Veronica just said that her little one is demanding that she gives her milk and she doesn't give in until she asks politely. She's good.
Yeah, that's good. And I would also tell her, we have milk with our meals or maybe at lunch. You know, would you like some water? To change the subject a little bit there. Yeah.
You can have water now, and you can have a glass of milk at dinner or at lunch,
Yeah, that's that first
Yeah.
and then.
first and then.
Yeah, first, you can have milk now and that later, now or later. So that'll do it too.
Yeah. But remember there, they did say 16 ounces, so that's four half, well, that's 2 cups, 2 full cups or 4 half cups, so. I mean, she could get a half of a cup at breakfast, a half a cup at lunch, and a half a cup at dinner, and then 1 for in between. If you wanted to break it up that way, but, it does have sugar in it. It's more sugar than water. Just, that's a good, try to remember that. So.
Even though it's healthy for them, it's still a lot of sugar.
Yeah. So 16 ounces of milk, and then they should be drinking water for the rest of the day. Yeah. All right. If there's any other questions, then we're gonna say, have a great week, and we will see you next time.
And good luck with your ignoring.
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Candies, no sugar. Bye.
Bye-bye, no candy, can't
Bye-bye.
eat that candy corn.